In this video, we will go over how to update a user's access in UKG Pro. This affects the main menu items that someone has access to here. For example, if a manager does not have the My Team icon, their access would need to be updated. The first step is going to System Configuration, Security, User Administration. Search the name of the person that you are wanting to update. Click on their name and go to User Roles. There are many different roles that can be assigned to a user, and each role can have a different set of employees. The most common update will be the manager role, so that is what we'll use for this example. We'll click the Add button, the magnifying glass to search, and you'll see all of the roles listed here. The manager role is called Manager. And this screen will bring us to filter which employees should be included in this role. When it comes to these filters, the less that are selected means they'll have access to more. So if we were to select a whole company, then they would have access to everyone in that company. If we continued filtering, then that would limit them further, and the more filters that we added, the less and less employees they would be able to see. Typically, these top boxes are only used for admin roles. So we are going to scroll all the way to the bottom and give this manager access to only their direct reports and their indirect reports. So that's the only criteria that we need to add here. So we will select their name from the supervisor box, click the right arrow, and this will give them access to all of their direct reports. If we want to give them access to their indirect reports, we will click this box here, and that will accomplish that for us. Those are the only two things that we need to select, and we will click Save. And the next step would be to view the list of employees that they have access to. So we'll find our manager role and we'll click View Employees, and this will bring up everyone that they have access to. If they don't have anyone listed here, or if there's a group of people missing, you would want to review their supervisor assignments under My Employees, as this is what determines who falls under their list. This concludes the steps for updating user access in UKG Pro. As you may know, employee group assignments are given to managers in UKG Pro on their Workforce Management tab, and those determine who they have access to in UKG Dimensions. In this video, we're going to dive into employee groups a little bit further. Employee groups can be found by going to the main menu, Administration, and Application Setup. From here, you'll want to look at Business Structure Setup. There are two menu items in here that are relevant when it comes to employee groups, and they are Organizational Sets and Employee Group. Employee Group is essentially just an organizational set. They're basically the same thing, but updates may be required in one or another or both, depending on your situation. So we'll start by clicking into Employee Group. And you'll see there is a list of all of the employee groups that we have set up here in a corresponding organizational set. So that is what I meant by them essentially being the same thing. These two names should match, and if they don't, they may not be set up correctly. So we can click into one just as an example, and you just click on the row until it turns gray, and then you can just click Edit. So you'll see that there's not a whole lot of information in here, and that is normal. That's good. All we need to make sure on the employee group is that the organizational set is selected from the drop-down. So we can see that this one has the same name And if we actually want to see what's included in the organizational set, then we need to go there and check. So we'll go back home and we will go to organizational set. And you see that these are the same names, should be the same list. So let's find the one that we were just looking at. Clicked on it so it's gray, and now I'll click edit over here. So this is actually what determines which employees are going to be visible in that employee group. So this organizational set is drilled down to UST Select, Amazon, and then there's the location selected here. So what this is saying is anyone that is assigned this department in UKG Pro on their main profile is going to be included in this group. And any manager who has this group assigned to them, Amazon Orlando, should be able to see all of those employees. So that's how you can double check if you need to make sure of something that if you're not sure what's included in the group, this is how you would check that. You may find yourself in a situation where the employee groups that we have listed don't apply to what the manager is needing. In that case, in order for them to have access to who you need them to see in UKG Dimensions, you may have to create a new employee group. So if we go back to our organizational sets, and we've already checked and confirmed that the one that we need just doesn't exist. It's a unique combination of locations for one reason or another. So the first thing we would do is create the organizational set. So you'll click on New, and on this screen, you'll name it whatever you want the set to be named. And then you'll start drilling down to the department that you want it to be. And then you select the one that you want to be included. So you can do multiple departments, in which case I would name the name of the employee group so that it's clear, so that in case someone else needs to use it, that they know what they're selecting. So in this example, I'm only going to include one department because that group doesn't exist yet. So I have my selection there, and I just click Save. But if we were to go and try to apply this group to a manager's profile, it wouldn't be there. So that's step 2, is creating the employee group. So we're going to go back home. And we will go to employee group. And this is the easy part. You just click Create. You'll name the group the same thing that you named the organizational set. Then you'll choose it from the drop down, and luckily it lets you search. And then you click Save. And from that point, we should be able to see it in our employee group list as well as our organizational set list. There it is. And that's all you need to do. Have you ever wanted to see for yourself which employees are included in an employee group? Keep watching for a tip. First, we'll go to the main menu, then Time, then Employee Summary. This will automatically bring you to a page of all the employees that you have access to. But if we want to specifically look for a group of people that is likely going to be filtered by division or department, the Hyperfind option is a great tool. So we'll click that, then we'll click New Hyperfind, Add Conditions. This will bring us to the primary job selections where we're going to drill down and find the specific division, department, company that we're looking for. In this example, I'm trying to figure out what employees come up in the employee group that we have for an Amazon location. So I'm going to select the box next to that department and click Add, or it won't filter, so make sure you do that. Then click Apply, and then click Save. So now I have a list of everyone who's assigned to that department in Dimensions. At this point, you should have already reviewed the org level selections on the organizational set in the employee group to confirm that it includes the correct department. So I've already done that, and I'm just wanting to see who comes up. If you've already confirmed this and there are employees that are still missing, it's likely related to something on that employee's particular setup. In the unlikely event that no employees show up, then there's likely something that needs to be updated in the system configuration. But hopefully that won't be the case for you. And that's it. I hope this tip was helpful. In this video, we're going to look at a few helpful reports for time off and employee transaction history. Since time off is kept in UKG Dimensions, the first step is clicking on Workforce Management, which will open up a new tab. Then you'll go to your main menu, Data Views and Reports, and Data View Library. Scroll down to the Scheduling section. And the first report we're going to look at is the time off requests history. This report shows time off requests in the current period that is listed here at the top, which you can change. It's just a basic view of the time off request that was submitted and any action that was taken by a user. So if we want to filter out the blank ones, we can add the filters row and do that here. And you'll see the date, the user who inputted the request or approved it. Another report that we're going to look at is the time off requests info report, which you can get to from your main menu or you can pull it up from here. This is a similar report, but it has a little bit more detail. So if you're looking for a certain request, you can filter and if you hover over the column at the top, it'll tell you what the name of it is. So you can see the status for this example is that they were canceled. And then you've got the creation date and then also the dates for the actual time off request itself, along with the duration and the type. Another place that you can pull a time off report, which is especially helpful if you're trying to get transaction history just for one employee, is in the report library. And if you click Run Report at the top, you've got your categories over here on the right, and we'll go to timekeeping, and then you can see these accrual reports here. So if we run the accrual detail report, it's going to show us all the transactions in the time period. So we're going to select that one. This is where you'll choose the time frame. So you have a lot of options here. You'll actually select the employee through the hyperfind option. So you could do a group as well. In this example, I'm just going to do one employee. So you click New Hyperfind, leave this as yes because you likely don't want to save this hyperfind, which is just one employee for the future. Add conditions, and on the left you can search someone by name or ID. So you can search by last name, click on the employee, click the right arrow, click Add, and then click Apply, and then click Save. And all that's doing is saving it for the purposes of this report. You can choose your output format. I'll leave it as PDF just for this example. and run the report. Once your report runs, it's going to show up in your completed section, and you can click on it from here, and it also downloads to your browser. So here is the report that has my one employee on it and any transactions that occurred on my balance. And those are some reports that are very helpful, but I would encourage you to take a look at all of the different ones that are available to you as well. This video will review how to check an employee's current time off balance. Since time off is housed in UKG Dimensions, we'll start by clicking on Workforce Management. This will open up a new tab that will take you to UKG Dimensions. And the first step will be to search for the employee whose balance you're wanting to check. You'll click the magnifying glass in the upper right corner and type in the employee's last name. Make sure you type out the full last name exactly as it is spelled to ensure that the employee comes up in your search. You'll click on the checkbox, then click Go to Time Card. You'll be defaulted to today's time card, which will show you their balance as of today. So at the bottom of the time card, you can see the accruals section. That is what you'll click on. And any available time off that they have assigned on their profile will come up here. So we can see that this employee has 80 hours available of PTO. If you want to look at their time off as it was in the past, then you can adjust that date. So if we look at yesterday, we'll see that the employee only had 40 hours available as of yesterday. So it's really important to make sure that you're looking at the right date. Today is going to be the most up to date. Another place that you can look at time off balances, especially if you are wanting to see them on a larger scale, is in data views. So if you click on your main menu and go to data views and reports and data view library, you can look at the accrual details basic report. So click on that. And this will bring up everyone's current time off balance. And again, make sure that you're looking at the right date because it will depend on what they had at the time that you're filtered by. And that is all you need to do to view someone's current balance. This video will review how to make a manual adjustment to an employee's PTO balance. Since PTO and all time is housed in UKG Dimensions, the first step will be clicking on Workforce Management. This will open up a new tab in your browser that takes you to UKG Dimensions. Your screen may look slightly different depending on your preferences, but if you're an HR admin, you should have access to all the steps going forward. First, you'll click on the main menu in the upper left corner, find Data Views and Reports, then Data View Library. You'll scroll down to the timekeeping section and look for the one that says Accrual Details Basic. Click on that, and it will pull up a report of everyone's current time off balance, as you can see here. If you need to filter a certain group, feel free to use the Hyperfind option, which would allow you to make edits to that entire group altogether if that applies to your situation. Otherwise, you can search for the employee using this funnel button on the right. Click Show Filters row, search for their name. The employee here doesn't have a balance at all, so that is what we're going to update. We will click on the checkbox next to their name and we'll click Accruals. There are two options for updating time off balances, and they work a little bit differently. One of them is Update Earned Accruals, which allows you to enter the time that you want to add to their current balance. And Reset Accrual Balances allows you to enter the balance that you want them to have at that time. We'll start by resetting the accrual balance to show you that as an example. So you'll enter the effective date and you'll enter the vested amount. What this does when you're resetting the balance is changes what they have available to whatever you enter in this box. So for example, we'll enter 40 hours and we'll click apply, and it does take a moment to update, so be patient. And now that we've refreshed, we can see that the current balance is now 40. As an example to show you how the other option works, we're going to adjust their time again. Let's say they needed to have 80 hours available rather than 40. What we can do is go to Update Earned Accruals, and we will type in 40 hours here, because with this option, it's adding the time to their current balance. So we'll click Apply. And again, it takes a moment to update. And you'll see that now their balance is 80. The reason I wanted to point out the two options, update earned accruals versus reset accrual balances, is because depending on the situation, you may need to use one versus the other. For example, if you need to update the balance for more than one person, then resetting their accrual balance likely isn't going to be the best option for you because they are probably starting with different current balances. So if you're updating more than one person and you're just needing to add time off, like they missed an accrual or you want to add a certain amount to everyone, then you would use the update earned accruals option. Reset accrual balances would only work for more than one person if they are all starting with the exact same current balance. So hopefully that makes sense. And that is all that you need to do to update their balance. In this video, we're going to review how employee schedules may affect time cards. The first thing to point out here is that anything you see in purple on a time card means it's coming from the employee's schedule. In this example, the employee has 4 12-hour days of PTO, and the time card is not letting us adjust these hours by clicking on it, and there's no edit button. That's because we need to update it on the employee schedule. The best way to do that is click Go to Schedule. Here we see the 4 days of PTO for 12 hours each. If we need to change these, we right-click and select Edit. We change the amount of hours to the correct amount and then click Apply. Then we click Save. And if we right-click again, we can go back to the time card. And we'll see that the PTO has been updated and totaled automatically. And that's it. This video is going to show how to remove a lunch from an employee's time card. First, go to the employee's time card and go to the date range that you're wanting to remove the lunch for. As you can see in this example, the employee worked from 7 to 5, but is only showing 9.5 hours for that day. That's because 30 minutes of lunch was deducted, which we can see here. If we want to remove that lunch deduction, we can simply right-click on one of the punches for that day, select Edit, select Cancel 30-minute meal deduction, and click Apply. As you can see, the time changed to 10 hours for the day, and we can see that there was an edit made to the time card. Then click Save. And that's it.